Hello everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil. On the day the Congress held nationwide protest against the Enforcement Directorate, the BJP came out all guns blazing, saying that the National Herald, which was launched in 1937, was never the personal property of the Nehru family. Former Law Minister and senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad's comments came after the ED named Congress leaders Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi in its charge sheet in the National Herald case. Mr. Prasad said that the law will take its own course under the Narendra Modi government and that probe agencies will not be fazed by the threats, within quotes, of the Congress. Sonia Gandhi's son-in-law, Robert Vadra, was questioned for the second consecutive day today in the alleged land deals in Haryana. First the story, and then I bring in the guests.
From Delhi to Mumbai, Chennai to Lucknow, Patna to Kolkata, protests, slogans, and street standoffs. The Congress party hit the streets in full force, protesting what it calls a politically motivated attack on its top leadership. The trigger, a fresh charge sheet by the Enforcement Directorate in the National Herald case, naming Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi for alleged money laundering. The ED heat has reignited the fierce political face-off between the ruling BJP and the grand old party, with both facing off in protest on the streets and on record.
A newspaper which has the protection, promotion and patronage of the entire Congress party after independence, least to be used as a proper newspaper, more as a forum to collect advertisement and also ensure big property by government cooperation.
This is actually a case which is nothing but vendetta in legal disguise. The ED should answer that why no NDA ally, no BJP leader is ever touched by the ED. Selective justice is actually nothing but political thuggery.
The reality is that you have leveled charges of money laundering in a case where not a single penny has exchanged hands, not a single asset has been transferred, no ownership has been transferred. The reality is that Young Indian is a not-for-profit Section 25 company.
After the company has been taken over fraudulently by the Gandhi family, suddenly its net worth increased to 2,000 crores. Not only that, it is a Section 9 company where profit is prohibited. People do not realize that Gandhis are making money, Gandhis are minting money, and ordinary poor Congress people are being deprived.
With the charge sheet being filed in the National Herald case for the Gandhis, both Sonia as well as Rahul Gandhi, it's going to be a critical and important phase both politically and legally, where they will have to answer questions about the fact that they haven't personally gained from doing what they did.
It was also day 2 of ED questioning businessman Robert Vadra, the son-in-law of Sonia Gandhi, in connection with the Gurugram land deal.
The ED insists it's doing its job following the due process. But for the Congress, this is yet another example of what they call an ongoing witch hunt against the opposition voices, a targeted political move. With Malvika Murli, this is Aishwarya Jain for NDTV in Delhi.
Joining us now, Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP. Ashpreet Kadial is representing the Congress. We have Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist. We'll be joined by Rajat Sethi shortly. And Arima Sundaram, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, will be joining us as well. I'm going to begin with you, Neerja Chaudhary, because, it is more political than it is legal, one may say. But does the Congress really have an argument here, particularly given the fact that its attempts to get the case quashed did not yield any favorable results, either from the High Court or from the Supreme Court?
You know, the whole, of course, the case has been there, but it has been quiet on this front for a long time, whether it's Robert Vadra or the Gandhis. National Herald has been in the pipeline. So it's very interesting, it's very curious to me, the timing that suddenly all these cases have been stepped up. Now, I don't want to say anything about the content of the merits of the case because we don't know, and as is often said, the law will take its own course. But the politics of it, yes, not even the politics of it, it is the timing of it. So there is a charge sheet against Sonia Gandhi, primary accused, then Rahul Gandhi, accused number 2, then summons for the second day today against Robert Vadra, the son-in-law. Priyanka Vadra also comes and drives him there, so she's showing her solidarity. Then there have been other things that have been in the pipeline. Lalu and Rabri Devi in the in the jobs scam, land for job scam, and then also Siddaramaiah, Bhupesh Baghel in the liquor scam, alleged liquor scam, and so on. Suddenly there, as I said, you have a stepping up of all this. And I asked myself, there are no elections down the road, only Bihar at the end of the year. And of course, there'll be many state elections next year. So what is it that, politically are they, and the Congress did not, it was a damp squib virtually at Ahmedabad. There was no clarion call from the Congress meeting there. There was no concrete action plan rolled out to revive the organization. So why at this time, go for them? Is it to weaken them further? Is it to create doubts in the minds of the regional parties for next year's various elections? I don't know. Politically, it's a bit, as I say, odd to me.
Okay.
The way it's happened. I'm not going into why it's happening or the merits of it.
Okay. So the timing is being questioned. 6 months to go for Bihar elections, and is there anything to do with the ongoing discussion which is happening between the RJD and the Congress, the Mahagathbandhan parties for an alliance in Bihar is the point which has been made to Heen Sinha. In 2016, the ED gives clean chit to the Gandhis, and the case now surfaces again. What is this timeline that we are looking at?
Well, good evening, Maria. Good evening, everybody. Ideally, the Congress workers should be protesting today against the Gandhi family because, the case involves manipulation of the ownership of AJL, National Herald, which was founded by Pandit Nehru. I understand there has been a 12-year process, because the entire case, the ED took over the case in 2012. And if you ask me, ideally, the ED should have acted at least 2 years ago, or at least a few years ago. But then that only shows that the ED is not, is not dictated by the government of the day. Now, the point is, the charges are very grave. There is manipulation of properties to the tune of 2,000 crores in 2012, the value of which would be around 5,000 crores today. And how did it happen? By creating a shell company, or by rather taking loan from a shell company of 50 lakhs and utilizing that 50 lakhs to write off loans to the tune of 90 crores. Now, my point is, in 2008, it was a UPA government at the center. There were multiple, in fact, most of the states had Congress governments. How did AJL have to suffer a loss of 90 crores when the revenues would come from the state governments? The state governments would donate to AJL. So it seems a well-planned conspiracy by the Gandhi family to deflate National Herald first and then to acquire the property through the shady entry called Young India Limited. By the way, Young India Limited was formed for charitable purposes. I don't see any charitable purposes enacted by the company in the last many years. So, it's a case where the Congress workers should be questioning the Gandhi family. And, Nirja ji mentioned about the intentions of the government, but this Indy alliance is fundamentally corrupt. The JMM bribery case, conviction happened during the UPA era. The Fodder case conviction had happened during the UPA era. So I don't think we should be blamed at all for this.
Okay. Arshpreet Kadia.
Thank you, Maria. Maria, first and foremost, here comes the election and there comes the action by the agency. the Bharatiya Janata Party has had this pattern that before the election they would initiate an action, and after the election is done and dusted with, all of it goes down the drain. There is no action. The conviction rate goes down. And that's basically done for the sake of optics. The Bharatiya Janata Party does not have anything else to offer, anything else to show. So rather, they try to campaign through the ED by doing enforcement of dictatorship. Now, fact of the matter is that Young Indian is a not-for-profit company under Section 25. Not a single penny goes to it. Not a single penny goes to its shareholders. No profit, no dividend, no nothing at all whatsoever. Number two, Young India has not taken over AJL, period. The fact is that all the assets belong to AJL, and as per the Bharatiya Janata Party, the properties are worth 5,000 crores. However, as per their agency, the Income Tax Department, it is worth 359 crores. Now, on one hand, it's 5,000 crores as per the Bharatiya Janata Party, and here it's 359 crores. Now, who is to be believed, the IT department or the Bharatiya Janata Party? Number four, the Bharatiya Janata Party's government has never ever converted any debt into equity under in NCLT. I want to ask the Bharatiya Janata Party's government, have you never done that? And number six, National Herald used to be the voice of freedom struggle back in the day as well. And the British hated it. They wanted to ban it. And now the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to do the same.
Yes.
They are following the footsteps of the British really well.
While you give all these numbers, one thing that I have on my mind, and I want to understand from you, perhaps you'll be able to answer this, is that what are the set of issues which are most important for the Congress party? And is this one such issue that calls for protests of this nature?
Definitely. When a government tries to stifle the voice of the opposition for no rhyme or reason.
No, but you have not got support from Akhilesh Yadav on this. Akhilesh Yadav is of the opinion that you have also misused agencies when you were in power. So why is the India bloc not backing you? Why is the RJD not standing with you? Why is the DMK not standing with you in these protests?
May I now?
Yes,
See,
please.
Maria, has Mr. Yadav not asked for the enforcement directorate to be done away with? Has Mr. Akhilesh Yadav not asked for it? And number two, I want to ask the Bharatiya Janata Party, give me two names, or let's say just one name of a Bharatiya Janata Party's leader or an NDA allies, any of your allies' leader that has been taken an action against by the enforcement directorate. Give me one name. Because what we have seen, Maria, is that Suvendu Adhikari, Mukul Roy, Hemanta Viswa Sarma ji,
all that is
Narayan
fine. I mean, this is like a repetition of the same argument that you keep giving. My question is that if these protests are by the Congress party, do you have support of your allies? Because the sense certainly is among the Samajwadi Party workers and also those who are speaking out is that you misused agencies when you were in power during the UPA 1 and UPA 2. So this is essentially that whichever party comes to power, they misuse agencies. Rajat Sethi, come in on this. The larger question about timeline of the case and the charge sheet. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
But allow me to answer, please.
No, Rajat Sethi has to speak.
I'll take 10 seconds only. I'll just take 10 seconds. I only want to say when in the JPC, NDA's ally opposed it, did you also say those nara for that? When the Waqf bill was opposed by the very ally of the NDA, the non-democratic alliance, was it not to be attributed then and there to the Bharatiya Janata Party?
The two aren't the same.
Come on, don't make juvenile argument.
No, the two aren't the same
juvenile arguments, Maria.
The two aren't the same here. The two aren't the same. No. That argument doesn't hold. Rajat Sethi, yes.
I hope he come up with the logic to come to the question.
Sir, come on, yaar, please. For God's sake, allow others to speak. Well, Maria, see, your show. Will you keep quiet?
Yes, your please go ahead, Rajat.
If you have an answer, answer the questions that have been asked.
Oh my God.
Instead of resorting to this.
See, please, you will need to do the feeder down of these people who come and sit and only do politics. They can't even talk sense. The kind of juvenile arguments that are being made here.
Rajat Sethi on screen now,
Instead of
please.
being personal, talk on the topic.
Yes, Rajat, go ahead.
Well,
make your point.
Again, I'm saying, see, Maria, can you, before the court of this country, go out and try and argue in this juvenile manner that, see, my leader has been targeted because he's an opposition leader. Can you make that argument? No. You have to talk on the merits of the case. In this studio, you're not presenting half of the points which actually are being mentioned in the ED's charge sheet. Go and fight it in the courts of law. The problem here is that let us draw a red line here. If any politician of any party gets charge sheeted, and charge sheeted that too by ED or by CBI, he needs to morally step down. I can't say anything about Sonia Gandhi ji because she doesn't occupy a public office, though she is a primary charge-sheeted person in this case. But Rahul Gandhi is the leader of opposition, which has the stature of a cabinet minister. He needs to step down immediately and allow a free and fair trial to happen. The charge sheet is submitted in the court and it becomes court's property. And this entire matter is now with the court, and he will have to argue. And if he, if he is being falsely implicated of it, he can come out of it. But time immemorial of our free country, we've consistently seen that any leader who's being charge sheeted has shown some kind of a moral spine to step down, allow free and fair trial to happen. And if he, passes this test of fire, the country will hail him. And the country will question the BJP. Though they shouldn't. They should be questioning the ED. But then let them do their politics after that. But right now is the moment when Rahul Gandhi should step down and allow the process to follow without any kind of...
Rahul Gandhi is an elected MP. He should step down from which role?
LOP. He is the LOP.
Leader of opposition. Okay.
The leader of opposition. Which is of the rank of a cabinet minister, Maria.
Yes.
He is occupying a public office.
Yes.
And this is where I'm saying, see, the reputation of all the investigation agencies, CBI, ED, etc., has been taking a hit for the past 7-8 decades. And therefore, if today ED is trying to take a decision or file a charge sheet, you're saying it is because of elections. Which year goes by when there is no election? One election or the other election continues to happen. Support one nation, one poll, then this cribbing point will not be there. Will you do that? You won't do that. When should ED do a muhurat that this is the right time when I can actually equidistant from two elections? I'm sitting here, now I can go and file a charge sheet. Is that the due process of our country? My last point here is, see, ED should and CBI should be above any kind of suspicion, and therefore you should allow ED to do its job in the best possible way. Filing charge sheet is a tipping point. When a prima facie case has been built, necessary evidences have been drawn out and have been written in black and white, and that document is submitted. Himanta Biswa Sharma case is brought in, it went to Guwahati High Court. Guwahati High Court took a decision on that. And it is in public domain. You can Google that decision, what High Court has said. Similarly, in Ajit Pawar's case, did ED, did CBI or any investigating agency file a charge sheet? If yes, he should resign that very moment. I have no two qualms about it depending on the shade of political color he or she belongs to. It is a plain and short thing. If you are charge sheeted, step down. There is absolutely no moral reason for you to continue in whatever chair you occupy if it is a publicly funded chair. Period.
Okay. How is this really motivated and fabricated? Arshpreet?
It is because there is not an iota of evidence in the case. And
why haven't you got any relief from High Court and the Supreme Court?
If I may, have you been convicted? That you're saying we haven't gotten relief? Has any one of the leaders been convicted? No, na. The principle of natural justice says, if I may kindly complete, Maria, you've already asked the third question in 10 seconds. Allow me to please answer. Now, the fact of the matter is that as per the principles of natural justice, one is to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Number two, it is the Bharatiya Janata Party's former president, Bangaru Lakshman, who was convicted in a corruption case. It was the Bharatiya Janata Party's former lone Mizoram MLA who was convicted in a corruption case. And there's a list of it. I'm talking about convictions, not under trials. Number two, here's a judge and apparently a member of the jury sitting, the political analyst, who was saying that Mr. Gandhi should resign from the post of the leader of opposition. For what? If resignations were to come, as per ADR, the Bharatiya Janata Party has the maximum number of elected leaders, MPs, MLAs that have criminal cases pending against them. The government would fall if that were to happen. So please practice what you preach and tell this to the Bharatiya Janata Party's government to do that. And number three, if there is even an ounce of evidence, why in 11 years nothing significant has happened. And as far as a charge sheet is concerned, maybe the political analyst does not even know what a charge sheet is. I don't know if he has ever stepped into the court. But I'll tell him, charge sheet is only when a charge is framed, not when it is proven. That is pretty much it. And when a charge is framed, before
I agree with you on that. So if it is only framing of charge, then why protest against the framing of charge?
Because the initiation of the very action, the initiation of the very case is based upon false premise.
Okay, there is a false premise in this case. And this is political thuggery which has been declared by the Congress here. That's why I want a response from you, Tuhin, on this. That this misuse of agencies is something which is coming back to haunt you.
It is puerile.
Why is it that the BJP misuses agencies?
It is puerile of the Congress party to imagine that ED would be filing a charge sheet without any evidence. In fact, there is legal opinion, sound legal opinion to the effect that, since it involves PMLA Act, sooner than later, Rahul Gandhi could be arrested. That is legal opinion. But of course, the Congress lawyers live in denial. So they would not accept it. Tomorrow, if Rahul Gandhi gets arrested, they would raise a huge hue and cry. But fact is that in 2015, he had obtained bail in the same case in 2016. The Delhi High Court had very categorically ruled that there is no exemption from them from the case. The only exemption was on personal appearance. So, the case had validity, but of course, money laundering cases take a very long time to get established, to get proven. And what is it about timing? Congress is irrelevant in Bihar. It is as insignificant, the presence is as insignificant as it is in Gujarat. It is equally insignificant in Assam, in Bengal. So why do they blame the timing? Fact is, these cases take a very long time. The fodder scam took a good 17, 18 years before Rahul Gandhi got convicted. The same happened with JMM bribery case where, I think Shibu Soren got convicted after about 14 years.
Okay, I have just enough time for Neerja. Neerja, the point being made here is valid.
I mean, have a very high probability of being convicted.
India is always in an election mode. One or the other state will go to poll every year. That is the way it is till the time one nation, one election becomes a reality. Then how can ED investigations be linked to elections? And it's also true, what role does the Congress really have in the state of Bihar? They are a secondary or a secondary player.
They are, but they are part of the alliance. Of course, they may not get as many seats as they were given last time because they didn't do well. One thing that you can say is suddenly the Congress has mobilized its cadre. They are, on streets all over the country, whereas that we've not seen this happen for a very long time on any big issue. So, and that has been one of the things that people feel the Congress doesn't hit the roads. If only it would hit the roads and, build up its organization. But at least today they've done that. They've done it for the family. And in the weeks to come, it's going to be the attention legally and politically of the party is going to be on this issue. That is very, very clear. And I would agree with Rajat and, I would say what he says about the LOP resigning because there's a charge sheet. I would agree if the agencies were used fairly. If the agencies are going to be used selectively only against the opposition, then you start to wonder whether the purpose of it is political, not to get justice. And that is a question mark in the minds of many people. Otherwise, I would certainly say if a leader is a publicly funded leader who holds a position like that is charged, he or she should resign. But in this case, the moral argument has been muddied.
Neerja Chaudhary, you have actually put it across quite well. And that would be the right note to end this panel discussion. Thank you so much for joining us, Tuhin Sinha, Preet Kardial, Neerja Chaudhary and Rajat Sethi. Let me bring Arima Sundaram, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, now on this broadcast. Mr. Sundaram, really appreciate your time. We are looking at political arguments from both the sides, the BJP and the Congress. They're talking about, whether there is vendetta or the real case taking its shape. Talking about the merits of the case, and I want you to speak about this as a lawyer, how do you look at the timeline of this case and now that the charge sheet has been filed?
Well, the fact of the matter is this whole thing originated more than 10 years ago and has been festering since then. The delayed filing of all these cases is perhaps what is being jumped on by the Congress party to say that it is a political vendetta. The fact that there is politics behind it, nobody can doubt. The fact that it is done to embarrass the Congress party and its leadership, one cannot doubt. However, the question is as to whether there is fire in the smoke that we are seeing. And looking at what the whole scenario is, let me say that it is quite a strange transactions which have taken place. It's a strange chain of events by which things have been done. It appears that there was an entire modus operandum by which assets were being taken over, and the members of the Gandhi family took over assets, and the Congress party has written off the debts of 80 lakhs. But the question then arises, who has been cheated in the bargain? The Congress party is not complaining because they willingly wrote off their debts. AJL itself is not complaining of having given the shares, and the company which is controlled by the Gandhi family having taken over the thing. So who has been cheated in this whole bargain? Now, if there has been no cheating and it's been a completely agreed understanding amongst all three elements, then the predicated offense which is necessary for a PMLA case, that is the underlying offense of cheating, breach of trust, etc., would not arise. There is no member of the Congress party who has objected. There is no member of AGL who has objected. There is no, and the person who has taken the shares are saying, look, it's a fairly straightforward transaction. Maybe in the bargain, lot of the assets changed hands. However, again, the claim is that where is the profit? Because it's a non-profit company, we're not getting dividends, anything. It's just to keep control over all this and see what can be done.
So, the view which has been shared also is that the Gandhis haven't really got much relief from the Supreme Court or from the High Court, because, of course, from the High Court and then the Supreme Court, they had filed a plea quashing the case. They got no relief. So, prima facie, there is some evidence to suggest that there is need for investigation. So, if the case is being pursued by the investigating agencies, then how are they really in the wrong?
Like I told you, the entire transaction leaves much to be desired. The entire transaction smacks of a predetermined manner of transferring such assets. The entire transaction, the modus operandum adopted, is very strange indeed. So it's quite natural that they weren't quashed at that stage. An investigation was called for. But the question then is, has this investigation shown that someone has been cheated, that someone had trust has been breached? Has the investigation shown it at this stage? And that is what has to be gone into and taking cognizance. Having said that, let me say one thing. The fact of the matter is, the people who can complain are AGL shareholders, who can say this entire transaction has really deprived them of their holding over these assets, because their shareholding percentage has been completely diluted, with 99% of the shareholding going elsewhere. And there are still more than 1,000 of those shareholders who were there when this whole case started. And were those shares diluted legally? Were they aware of it? Because I understand that 2 or 3 of the persons who held shares originally are saying that they had no idea that their shares had been watered down or had been taken away. Now, certainly, if those people have in any manner been cheated, then a case of cheating and breach of trust does arise. So I think that is where this whole case is going to boil down to.
My last question to you would be that, do investigating agencies actually feel the pressure if there are protests of this nature? The Congress party workers held protests against the Enforcement Directorate throughout the country. Do you see this impacting the nature of investigation?
Well, looking at what has been happening over the past few years, probably a decade, 2 decades, I think that the only pressure ever felt by these investigative agencies, and I'm not referring to any one party in power, we have found this for over 20, 25 years when other parties were in power, is that the only pressure these investigative agencies appear to feel is from the ruling party, which is in power. In fact, that is why you remember, even when the present opposition party was in power, there was an expression used, caged parrot, to describe the CBI. So, but I don't think the opposition protests creates any kind of pressure on these investigative agencies. I don't believe they do.
All right, Arima Sundaram, pleasure having you on this edition of The Last Word. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. That's all from me. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.